Right? What's going on? What what's that picture doing up there at the gardening show? Yes, that's science fiction, by the way. That is probably one of the best science fiction books you'll ever read. No telly on. Terrible lighting. Going to show you how I turn into the Potty Mouth Garden Club, how I turn this into the Potty Mouth Garden Club. Bear with me. This comes down. Get this off. This goes over here. Right, that's, yeah. Got to put the sign up. So every week, up. There we go. Too much light. 1 second. Yes. We're getting there. We're getting there. Sorry, I've got to. This mic is only fixed to the desk. So, 1 second. Now we've got to get the TV. Get that on. Alexa, switch on Ellie's lamps. Got to have some lighting as well. There we go. This is a complicated thing. But I'm just showing you how this studio is set up. Right. Devices. I've got a USB in the back of there that has got a whole load of pictures on. And I can just choose which one to put on. For the Potty Mouth Garden Club. Can you see them there? Yes. Thank Potty, it's Friday is up there. Now, let's just pick that. There you go. Now, can you see as well, that telly, would you believe, is on such an angle. It doesn't look it, but it's on a right angle because of those, see those lights? That's what happens later on as well. One moment. Turn up these lights off. There. It's getting better. It's getting better. Then, got to put these lights on. One moment. Oh, it's starting to look. Starting to look. One more little thing. I'm low down. I've got to pump my chair up. There we go. That's how the Potty Mouth Garden Club comes about. And what I want is for you to kind of come in to this Potty Mouth studio, not my house, into the studio. Every Monday, 3 o'clock, we record the show. As you know, there's a little timer over there, and it's actually 10:41 in the morning at the moment. 3 o'clock, we record it on a Monday. And we've got the facility now, so you can come in and watch if you're a Patreon member. There's still a live chat at 7 o'clock when the show goes out. That's still there. That'll not go away. But if you want to kind of help out, and all this cost us, it costs us a fortune, to be honest. If you want to help out, as little as £2 a month can get you in. And that can, we can say hello and have a chat and do all sorts. You know what I mean? You can ask questions. And we did the first one on Monday gone. And to be honest, it was lovely. Really nice. Everyone had the letter A. Everyone's name was, I don't know if that was some quirk, but everyone had the letter A as the name. So this is the Potty Mouth Garden Club. Welcome. If you want to join, there's a little link in the description of Patreon. There'll be a link put in there every week. I'll just post a link into Patreon. You grab that link, you put it in your browser, and you join my Riverside Studio. This is the software that I'm using to make this. Look at that, man. To be honest, looks, when I look at it there, do you know what I mean? Quality, man. Fantastic. And, you know what I mean? Pop along. It will be fantastic to see you. Take good care. Toodle bip. How do, everyone? Welcome back to the Potty Mouth. And yes, that video, yeah, a little, to shake us up and maybe rattle it in. Do you know what I mean? And get some donations or some Patreon members over and to pop in to the chat. We've got a few people in there. It'd be lovely to have some more in as well. We've got Marion, Ralph. Who else? We've got Chris. And I'm sure I've seen Alicia in there. Was it Alicia? Louise, Ashley, Jessie. Oh, Jessie's our Jessie. So anyways, yes, it would be lovely to kind of see us in there and support the show. That would be fantastic. JB.
It's not just A's in the chat.
It's not
this
just
week.
A's. We've progressed from the A club.
Yeah, that's right. It was all A's, wasn't it?
Funny.
I think
felt very supported that day. Last week, I was with my people.
That was such a coincidence. I don't know if it was kind of me. You know what I mean? They were all A's. So, JB, are you good? Are you well? Are you strong?
I'm okay. I'm recovering from a touch of the man flu.
I know you've said.
So I've had a...
So it's not here for you. I must have missed it. It's not here fever. It's man flu.
No.
Oh,
just a bit
brutal.
of man flu.
It's brutal, for God's sake. No, what? I didn't. JB, I would have knocked me on the head and said, "Listen, you put your feet up, sweetheart, and chill."
I've been back at work today, so it's okay.
Who's doing the tea tonight then? If you've got man flu.
It's me. It's all me. Jess is away.
Mother.
She's having a little holiday in Cornwall, so I've been making use of all the freezer food.
Oh, bloody hell.
We got some good ready meals in the freezer. Homemade ready meals like home cooked lasagna and that kind of thing.
So just like
perfect.
Ting!
Yeah, exactly.
You struggle on. What a trooper.
I know. It's hard, isn't it?
Oh, I know. Audrey, how are you?
Yep. I'm very well this morning.
Good.
How's afternoon?
I haven't been keeping up with your weather, mind you. So what is your weather like? Because the last time it was going to be burning ridiculous.
Yeah, we've come down a little bit. Now we're in the mid 80s, which is
just still.
Oh, it's too warm for me. I'm not a. I don't like the hot weather.
We took the dogs out today, Audrey, and I bet it was only about 22, something like that, and it was just sweating, coming up hills. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, no, it's a little warm. Mm-hmm. So I try to get out there first thing in the morning.
Well,
for it. Before the heat really hits.
That's the perfect time, isn't it? When it's like honestly, we're just kind of talking about getting up and what time we get up, and Audrey doesn't get up that time no more. But honestly, if I get up dead early, like I'm joining the 5 o'clock club, 6 o'clock.
I didn't even wake up until 11 today. I don't know why. That is not normal. I just didn't even stir. There was nothing. Like it's dead.
It's not even 11 here yet. You'd still be sleeping.
I'm in bed early. Jess, what time? I think, Jess, you're a bit of a night person. Are you a stay up late?
Well, when I'm left to my own devices, I like go to bed about 8 o'clock and get up about 6. But I'm not often left to my own devices. So yeah, it's about go to bed about 3ish, and then get up at
3.
Yeah,
that'll do it. Yeah, 3 o'clock. That'll do it.
Man. Right, Jessie. This fucking thing. Get one of them, Tony. Fantastic.
Come on now, tell me how you could possibly have messed that up. What have you done?
They don't go through this. They'll just bend and squash. But I've found out why. But
it's because your beans are old.
I've got apparently everyone said I've got limp beans, Jessie.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a common problem.
I went and got cheap beans from the co-op because they were discounted, £1.04, and they just mushed into it.
You know, there's medication for that, Tony.
Yes.
For
Seek help, sir. But you can. But honestly, you have to do it when your beans are fresh, because otherwise they won't go through. They have to be nice and crisp. And also, if you leave them too long, stop showing it. Like there's a problem with it. The problem is with you and your beans, not the Genius device.
So I'm guessing then, just to make sure I've got this right. This bit here, you top and tail them. Yep.
Yep.
This bit. This bit here, you push it in that way, yeah?
Yeah.
And you pull it out that way.
Yeah.
Without limp beans.
No limp beans.
Right. Well,
Strong, virile beans you need.
Oh,
But with small seeds, because if you leave your beans too long and the seeds get too big, it won't go through. It takes, you'll work it out. You need your own beans, not co-op bargains.
You promised me though, Jess, you promised me no squeak. Now what I had to do was go manual and cut beans longish, because I've never tried them beans longish. I got squeak. JB was all excited last week that there was no squeak with the beans.
I don't know how you're getting it so wrong, Tony. Like this is
just well, because I had to throw this away because I had obviously limp. My beans were limp, but
stop pinging that thing. Just that doesn't need to be pinged.
It looks. Can I just show you closer? You see them? They are sharp. These things here are as dull. I thought they would be like razor blade sharp, so you just go.
Yeah, they normally are. What brand did you buy?
China.
Was it the cheapest possible one on Amazon? Because if it was that, it might be a reason.
Is yours actually a branded make?
Yeah, they're called. Oh, I'll look it up afterwards.
Because I did see someone actually in the Discord had like a little square one, like a little square block. Same principle, but you're right. You've got to have fresh beans. Now I didn't realize.
Krisk, they're called.
What they're called?
Krisk, Krisk.
Right. This bloody thing. It might be this. I don't know, but. When it came, mind you, it's not the most elegant of kitchen utensils, I'll be honest. Do you know what I mean?
That's what drawers are for, Tony. It's not meant to. It's not an art piece to hang on the wall.
Well, honestly, the only reason why I've kept it, and is for the bloody video, because I was thinking this is just going straight in the bin. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I'm going to have to... My first runner bean, I'm going to be on here doing a demo.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, this Krisk bean slicer is only £5. So it's not like a premium.
The proper...
You don't need to spend 20 quid.
If you put your... You know that thing you keep flicking?
Yeah.
If you accidentally put your finger on it when you're putting a bean through, it will cut the top of your finger. Is yours blunt?
Oh,
Don't do it on air.
I didn't even see that.
I didn't even see that. So what? Why have you got that there then? I know this is good, and we're kind of really going overboard. What is
because it's like you know when you got your print. Stop. When you've got a printer, yeah. So you've got your A4 sheet. You don't just have a fixed slot. You've got one side that moves, that keeps the paper pressed up against the other side.
That's such
a
great...
That is there that when you put it in, it keeps the bean in line when you're pushing it through.
Right.
It's a guide.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a great example.
That's, yeah.
I love that.
Jess,
straight off the top.
I want it noted on the record. Jess
I'm not giving you a refund, Tony.
we had like a department store. Well, any department store, kind of in the early 80s, and that used to have like little stalls where they demonstrated like kitchenware.
Yeah.
Jess, that's what we want off you when you get some beans.
I'll do it. Just will on my broad beans, and we'll runner beans.
We'll use your affiliate link. I got everyone buy the bloody thing. See if it works for you. So anyway, what?
Amazing.
Audrey. That's enough of this thing. Just out of curiosity, have you got one of these, Audrey?
I do not.
Good.
We use knives here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, I did use a knife, and I'd like to say I got a squeak, and I was like, straight away.
Now that the kids are kind of obviously out of the house, I went away from unitaskers. I want, that's a unitasker. What else would you use for that, right?
It is.
So I've tried to really hone down the tools in the kitchen and use knives.
Yeah. I've got so few gadgets. Like really, I'm not a gadgets person, but that is like a must-have
that works
item
for you. So to me, that's well worth it. Like that works for you.
I did buy, mind you, very posh, from Lakeland, an apple corer at the weekend as well. Oh my God, I swear to God. because I'm now having, just if you want to know, for my breakfast, I'm having muesli, Holland and Barrett raisins, and an apple with a
Does
yogurt.
it peel it and slice it at the same time, or just core it?
Just go straight through that core.
Okay.
Bosh. It's like a bloody
Now, you see,
spyglass.
that's the kind of job I would be using a knife for. Like, I don't think I need an apple.
You know why? Because I was using a knife, I was wasting a lot of apple. There we go. And I was trying to miss out the seeds and cut out the gowk and everything. Do you call it a gowk? Does everyone call it a gowk?
Never heard that in my life.
A what?
The gowk. I've just thought that. I bet they don't even know what I'm on
What's
about.
a gowk?
The middle bit, man.
It's called a core.
It's
He called
a
it a
core,
core
that's why it's
already.
called a core.
You heathens. Oh, it's not heathens. You're kind of, you're lovey-dovey. That's what it is. You know what I mean? It's called a core, Tony. Gowk, man. Anyway,
There's a couple of people in the chat saying that they can't see Audrey.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know. Have you got the 3 on your settings, Marion? Have you got the 3 long ones, or have you got 4 you know?
No, we can see it. Yeah,
We can see it.
I can
Yeah.
see me.
Oh, apple crumble cake Marion's talking about. I want one of those. Let's start talking about food, Marion.
Oh,
Right. What? Slanton, what's going on? JB,
Hello.
I got and again, I forgot the name, but you know our quad growers? Now, a gentleman got in touch with us via Instagram. Private message. Normally
Yeah.
just block them, but I says, hello.
No.
Right, grumpy old man. Normally block everyone. But, no, if it's gardening, I'm fine. But he's got quad growers. Now, he's getting blossomed end rot
Yeah, I've had that.
on tomatoes.
So I had this one year, and I was only getting it on my beefsteaks. You know, the really big
Mm-hmm.
fat ones. And I wasn't 100% sure what was causing it, but I think it might be that the quad grows don't quite give enough water through the wicking matting for those. You know, beefsteaks are really thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure if I used like some off-brand matting that year. I didn't use the stuff that came with the quad grows. I used some cheap Wilco stuff. So I thought because of that, maybe it wasn't getting enough water.
Right.
So it might be worth trying a bit of supplemental,
But it's
watering.
It's normally not so much a lack of water; it's inconsistent water that causes blossom end rot, which seems weird because the one thing it is consistent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the A and B solution for the food that you get with NutriGrow as well has plenty of calcium and magnesium added. So it shouldn't be that. It might be that they've not started using the feed just yet. I think I was always a little bit lax on my feeding. You know,
I think everyone is, JB. That's just the nature of the course.
So I would check that. I would say make sure, give the soil a feel. Dig around in there, make sure that it's moist enough and the wicking matting is doing its job. If not, you might need to do a bit of supplemental watering and make sure you're giving them the A and B feed.
Is that a bad thing, JB, with the quad grows or the auto pots? Just like, because that's what I sometimes do when I go up. At the moment, but it's quite nice weather. It's around about 10 days for I need to fill them up.
That's
And
good,
when I'm
isn't it?
filling them up, I always give them like a little drink from the top as well. Now, am I doing something wrong there or not?
No, it's not. It's not sort of in the instructions that you should do that or anything. But I don't think it hurts really. I quite often do the same if I'm doing tomatoes. Chilies, not so much, but a little bit of supplemental for the tomatoes just in case.
Tomatoes are just drinking the water compared to the chilies. The chilies are just a safe bet. They're almost like wild childs, the tomatoes. Do you know what I mean? Where your chilies are like quiet kids. Do you know what I mean? They're just like do as they're told.
It all like when the tomatoes start to get big, there's so much leaf surface that they take the water up to transpire it to cool them down. So if it's getting really hot in there, they just get so thirsty. They'll go through so much, and obviously they need it for the fruit as well. But chilies,
I mean,
chilies are a lot more
at this
chill.
moment, my favourite one is that Starfighter, Rebel Starfighter. They are just looking fantastic, to be honest. Some of the
Nice.
other ones aren't that good. And did anyone get Ian from Grown Locals lucky dip amongst us? Well,
Mine didn't
mine's a Rebel
germinate.
Starfighter. It's a Rebel Starfighter, the lucky
Really?
dip one. I think so. Do you know what I mean? So, chuffed to bits with that. So,
That's quite cool.
Jess,
got mine.
have you putting a quad grow in your poly? Have I heard that right or not?
No,
or?
my quad grows are going in the greenhouse, but I got all my tomatoes out this week.
Right.
All of them. So the greenhouse is now clear, apart from ones that I'm giving away. So I'm now ready. Like this week coming is I'm going to get the chilies into the quad grows, which is exciting. I opened the box this week and I was like, right, I'll just test the size. I was like, oh my God, there's so many bits. So I just like closed it back up and left it. I was like, that was more complicated than I was expecting. But yeah.
To be honest, for me, the setup is pretty kind of painless, Jess. Once you get in the rhythm, once you've done, you know what I mean? Like you think, all right, like that, just put them tubes in with the filters and then that's really it. Lids on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to having a go at them. I've cleared all that side of the greenhouse, so it's all ready to go. Mum's very upset because I've taken her chair out of there. So yeah, she's not happy about that.
So what's going in there then? Just chilies, not a tomato.
Yeah,
at
so
all?
the polytunnel this year, I've totally given it over to tomatoes and basil, basically. There's a bit of parsley in there, but basically it's just tomato and basil because I've got so many varieties of basil this year. I had a load and then Ali sent me a load. So I've got about 14 different varieties. So it's all just kind of dotted in there. Got them all planted up, got the ones outdoors planted up. And what's going in the polytunnel is, in the greenhouse, is just chilies, aubergines, melons. Like that's it.
Right. So is your aubergines not? Where's your aubergines now? And
they're in the
what's that?
greenhouse, but they're in much smaller pots than they should be in.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a couple of. It must be like a little variety, but they're just the little ones that's just starting to need to be picked there. So good. Audrey, how's things over? Tomatoes, chilies.
Tomatoes are actually growing. This is great. I saw my first green tomato on one of them, so I was very thrilled about that. Peppers, they're going to do something. I have no idea what that's going to be, but they're not dead. So I take that as a win at this point.
Always good.
Yeah, I don't even think I've seen flowers on them yet. So now my eggplant are going gangbusters. So who knew? Here we go. It's like twice the size of any of my peppers.
Mine, it's because obviously you're growing them eggplants, aubergines outside. That must just be like a lovely feeling. Do you know what I mean? We've got to have like cover. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, everything's outside. So yeah, out in the great. We're having that wedding, not that wedding, my daughter's wedding this Saturday.
Oh, that wedding. Bloody hell.
That's this Saturday. Wow.
This Saturday. God, that came round quick.
I know. And it's so funny. Having had, this is the first at-home wedding ever. Much easier just to rent a place and go do it there because you see everything in new eyes. Like, well, that was horrible. And that, and so, yeah, that's been a lot of my last couple weeks.
Were you planning, Audrey, to use any of this veg for this wedding, like for the buffet?
No.
Right. No, I'm just thinking because you're like a little bit behind.
And I didn't know about this until the garden season had already started. So I couldn't plan for things like that. So that would have been, if I had been able to plan for that, oh my goodness, we could have done some different things. But anyway, I'm just...
How many roughly, Audrey, how many people's rocking up?
Oh, it's only about 40 people.
Okay, that's still quite a lot.
I know, but it's,
See, over here, Audrey, that's like almost like a football crowd, man. 40 in your house, man. And is that
No,
Or
it's outside. It's outside.
Is it outside just for the one for the you haven't got guests staying for a week, have you?
No, I'm not. I don't have. This is family and extended friends of Rachel's. So anyway,
6 p.m. Go.
it's-
That's enough.
well, we're getting tense, and so it's kind of be outside. But we'll see how hot it's going to be. If
Yes.
not, I'll be entertaining inside.
Anything?
I think that's so brave. That's so
typing?
brave.
Oh God, aye.
I'm typing in the live chat there. We've got a few sort of questions trickling in. The first one from Ashley asking about Alice's dream, the tomato. They've said theirs is really small, only 12 inches, and they were wondering, is it a little bit slow? And mine definitely is. I've got my Alice's dream is in. It's kind of surrounded by the other tomatoes in my polytunnel that are doing really, really well. It seems like it's a good bit of ground. I've sort of got two halves of the tomatoes. I think some of the better ones were planted a little bit earlier too. But Alice's dream. Really, really slow for me.
Audrey, that's what I think that, when we were talking before, Audrey, and I was saying some of my tomatoes they've got lots of flowers. Yeah, how mine's kind of romped away and there's fruit on. But I'm sure it's the Alice's one it's got the odd, it's got the flowers on, but there's no fruit. Do you know what I mean? So
that's strange.
That's interesting.
Now, I saw a couple being potted on by Allie from the right pear plot, and they were small compared to other tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just a smaller. Maybe it's more like a Brad's that just looks a little
weedy,
wiry.
Because what they look like then, Jess? Because I'm sure you recommended them, Jess. So we've all now grown.
You're on the hook for so much today, Jess.
I really need to curb what I'm saying, don't I?
More caveats needed.
No, Alice's dream, if you remember, was the one that was possibly like mixed with the Sartre Reloys or Relays, whichever way you say it. That I grew it as Alice's dream, but it didn't look a great deal like Alice's dream. It had a lot darker shoulders than that, like a Sartre Reloys. So that was the one that we're a bit unsure of. But mine isn't small. Mine's kind of the same. The only one of mine that's like recognisably smaller is Prairie Fire, which is really short at the moment, like lush and lovely and growing, but it's like this big, and all the rest of them are like a foot or so.
And what will the Alice Dreams tomatoes? They're
yellow,
right?
With a red. So they're yellow on the bum and red on the top with like a dark sort of a purpley shoulder.
Right.
They're like split round the middle, the two colours.
Because how we were talking, I think a couple of weeks ago about like heirlooms being like less productive in fruit wise. Is this the case with Alice's Dream? Or because I tell you what, just me Rebel Starfighter one, there's just oodles. You know what I mean? I'm really like, and they're all big. Normally when you get like a beef tomato, you'll have about maybe 4 big ones, and then there's
a couple of small.
Yeah.
Well, this is my first year growing that one as well, so I don't know how that's going to grow, and mine is not at the stage where I'm looking at any fruit at the moment. But I didn't reckon, like I had a couple of weedy ones last year. Brad's Atomic was one of them, was recognisably just like a weedier plant than everything else. But Alice's Dream isn't on my radar as being particularly weak. So
did you get a good crop though with the Brad's Atomic, although it's weedy?
Yeah, really good amount of fruit from it. It was just the plant itself looked a bit weedy. But I'm doing I'm doing Atomic Fusion this year instead, which has supposedly got the same flavour characteristics as grape, but it's a stronger plant. So we'll see.
And it's a bigger tomato.
Yeah, they're more like a plum than a grape, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine, I'm uncomfortable here. That's why I'm kind of wriggling all over the place. I did have, like I picked a Shirley off the vine. You know how Steve always says, good doer. There was one ripe there. And I don't know if it's just like, how you always get like a 1 or 2 ripe before the full crop comes. There was just no flavour in it. No flavour whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's down to the quads of it's just down to that. You know, you always get like a couple of like red ones go early on, and then you get your glut of like your vines coming
But
through.
is Shirley one that you always grow?
I just grew it because Steve was a kind of adamant that it was a good doer. So since he mentioned that, you know, and since he, bless him, he passed away, I thought, I'll always just put one in, you know, just somewhere, just put one in.
Yeah.
And they're certainly not as nice, you know what I mean? It just was like a normal tomato, you know, like I say, a tomato that's probably been in the fridge a day or two, you know, they're just like kind of.
I think Shirley's meant to have almost no flavour, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, it's renowned for being a completely flavourless red ball.
Well, I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not sure on that, but I can back that up and say there wasn't much flavour.
But then it could have been that first one, like you say. Yeah.
I'm leaving, JB. I'm leaving all them, since you mentioned it, you know, the jalapenos.
Letting them go red.
Yeah, I've got some quite good ones on. Actually, and it's the little chili pot grower, the chili grower ones, where seem to be kind of thrown up, you know, like a smaller pot. So, but with that comes like they're a smaller reservoir, so they're going quite quickly, the water. So
you're having a good growing year, Tony.
Tony's having a. I don't know. Tony lives in like upside down land.
Fussy about it now. Like, I don't think this one's doing as well.
I'll do it. Actually, honestly, I had a look today, and this was talking this off air. I've got some like trogs looking thing. I don't know if that's the right name for them. Like big planters outside, and I haven't touched them. I've just let them grow wild, and obviously they're in clover, Pete. They're just green, luscious green. Lots of flowers, no fruit, lots of flowers, and they're probably 3 foot tall. Where the polytunnel ones, they look like they've had a hard time. Do you know? And I guess it's the heat in there. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been probably 80% of the time that door's been shut, even on like a day like this. So, but they just look like they're trying to get over the finish line. There's lots of, you know, others.
Yeah.
Some of the plants have got lots of fruit on. Some of them I would like more on, but I don't know if that's just the, you know, like the variety and the heirloom. But the outdoor ones look lovely looking, where the indoor ones seem to be like it's a marathon and we're nearly finished.
Well, it gets pretty hot in there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think peppers withstand heat a little more than tomatoes do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they show it pretty quick when they're too hot, tomatoes, don't they?
Yeah, they just limp out.
It's such a bloody weather this year, so like awkward. The quad growers were purely to kind of save us time going up. So I've kind of stuck the thing, right, I'll leave it a week. But then you're like, your weather's hot and cold. Do you go up and open the doors? Do you go up, you know what I mean? It's like I'm going up probably more to open and close things. So
I've actually started closing the doors again on my polytunnel. It's just ridiculous.
It was 8. Like the overnight temperature in the greenhouse was 8 last week.
Well,
I mean,
honestly,
wow.
Most nights now, we're watching the football, and I'm wearing a fleece.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, because I'm not going to put the heating on in bloody July.
No.
But
wow.
I'm wearing a fleece, so.
It's been a very, very funky weather. But yeah, I meant to say this last show, Tony. Your plot just seems like such an outlier compared to everywhere else, and pretty much every other YouTube channel, apart from the master growers, Tony. So you're in good company. But every other YouTube channel,
being Charlie, you know what I mean?
Everyone kind of lamenting the strange growing year and everything being so slow. And then you go to Tony's channel and he's like, "Look at the tomatoes, look at everything." And like Audrey says, you know, a little bit of fussing over slightly slower things. But you're having a great year, Tony.
But to be honest, though, like, I haven't done as much, and maybe that's, you know what I mean? I've had time to relax, enjoy. I swear to God, it's been a revelation, just putting the amount of veg that go in a bed instead of cramming. That has been, and it's almost so cathartic when you put you'd think you're just putting like 2 or 3 or 4 is me most, like cabbages in a bed, and you can walk away and go, that's enough. That
Nice.
feeling is all, you know what I mean? Where I would look at it normally and go, I can get another 4 in there. I can get 8 in there easy. But the ones like I was looking today, the cabbages, the leaves are like luscious green. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure it's down to like the rules of gardening. Don't over. You know what I mean? Who would have funked it? You know what I mean?
Are you using the space between them for quick crop, or are you just leaving it exactly as is?
Well, to be honest though, Jess, I'm talking about the 2 red cabbages. They're so big.
Yeah, they grew so quick as well, didn't they?
You know, there's no room there. There is no room. I did have little lettuces in, and I only had 2 in the bed on each bed. But this thing about just not overplanting is.
Your carrots might start
I'm welling up. You know what I mean? It's like.
But
And I've got
Audrey, carrots might start.
I went up the day, and it was the last desperate hope. I put some in some buckets, and I thought, this is it. I'm had enough. And yet now they're there. So, but I really need to go with. I was thinking this is how kind of perverse, with tweezers to pick out the other weeds, because this is how obsessed I am now with the carrots, because I just kind of grow them because the weeds overtake them, and you can see just underneath them, weeds are there, just like ready to kind of. You know what I mean? No carrots here, carrots here, go away. You know what I mean? So, I don't know whether I was just saying this on the video today. I don't know whether they're kind of, because they're in potato pots, to lift them up really high. I've got 2 bits of like flat wood where I sometimes put cameras. Just put them on top of there, you know, which would make it about 5 foot high. So I don't have to kind of bother with kind of carrot root fly and just keep on watering them. I don't know, but it's bloody lovely to get a carrot.
Did you see the revelation that Hugh Richards came out with recently?
No.
What was that?
No.
That Americans say the word herb correctly.
Wait on, I'm just unsubscribing.
One of your own has said it. So,
How dare he, yeah?
That's all I'm going to say.
Is that right, or is it?
He did, yeah. He said
Right.
Americans say it correctly.
Right.
So,
Seems wrong, man.
What's it based on? Yeah, I'm intrigued. Was it in a video, Audrey? I've got to see it.
I think it was.
I've got to see it.
I mean,
I'm noting that
did
down
he
for
come up
later.
with any like basis for this?
There must
Like,
be.
he's not trying to claim that it's French, is he, or something?
No, he's claiming that Herb is a dude, just like I do. Herb is a guy, right? No, he didn't say that Herb was a dude. I'm assuming that's his reason for saying it, but all I know is he did. Allegedly.
I'm all with Ian on this in the chat. Totally.
What?
The bloke's Welsh. Completely irrelevant.
He can't even speak English.
on the language front.
Okay.
Well, you mentioned, Jess, Basil. I haven't got any going there. Did you kind of do yours from seed or and just different variety? I wish I had done some basil now.
It's not too late. You could throw some in.
Yeah, still fine.
Yes, really not too late.
But I'm all in with quads. I've got no soil. Do you know what I mean?
I think you have a couple beds that are available, don't you?
Yeah, you could do some outside. I'm doing some outside.
And what is it not getting damaged with slugs, JB? Are they not?
But you know what? The stuff I'm doing outside is all fine, but the stuff I did put some in the ground in my small greenhouse, and that was a really nice chunky plant, and it's just disappeared. Slugs have had it.
Yeah. Last year, every bit of basil, apart from the Thai basil, because they don't seem to like that, but every single basil plant I tried to grow last year did exactly that. I ended up just growing it in pots on the window ledge at home because it just went. But this year, I mean, touch wood, it's all right at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is it in pot or in the ground, Jeff?
It's literally, so I've planted my tomatoes in the polytunnel. You know the formation, it's like a U shape in the polytunnel. Done with tomatoes. I've done what we were discussing last week about doing 2 rows at the back of tomatoes. So I've given them a bit more space, and then just dotted between them. I've kind of got the ones that I've got in already is the bog standard sweet basil. I've got a really tiny leaf purple basil, a big fat leaf purple basil, and the lettuce leaf basil, which is the one with the leaves like this big. And
so have you just put them in? Have you
just dotted them in? Yeah, I started them off in cell trays and then plonked them in, and they seem so far really to be going well.
Mine, they don't realise yet. Do you know what I mean? There's one slug going to go, listen, they're right here. It's all the
That's exactly what happened last year. Like, they were the only thing that was left after planting massive. I did it must have been at least 2 full trays of basil that I diligently all planted out in there. Nothing. The only thing that was left was the Thai stuff because they just won't eat it.
Melanie got us a little herb. We should actually start saying it the correct way.
No, we shouldn't. Not no.
Oh no!
It's going to be a war. The potty mouth herb
Audrey,
war.
I was trying for the team there, but obviously there's some, some ranks are breaking and sticking to the British. Got some herbs, and some of them were basil, and I put them in these planters that I've got outside. I was saying it's sex snails on the wall. There's just loads, and they're just gobbled up within a night. The basil was a little things, and I was like, well, that's why I haven't sown anymore. It just went and gone. So
could you grow some in your greenhouse?
Yeah, perfect.
I suppose so. Yeah. I always think it's a long growing. Takes a while, mind you. For me,
not really. Once they're up, man, they go.
Germany. Yeah, it's slow in May. So if you're sowing it kind of April, May, it grows really slowly. But once summer hits, it really starts to put on some growth. Yeah. So if you sow it later, it's a bit quicker, I think. Guessing.
Well, we've got I've got some planters in there now because I did buy shop bought lettuce, and I'm not very good at picking. How we all told Charlie Dowden kind of pick the outside leaves. Doesn't work like that on a tea time when you're hungry and you just, for God's sake, I just get the freaking thing. You know what I mean? That kind of. So I've got some snapped off lettuces. That just look horrific.
They still grow though, most of them.
Yeah.
You'll still get some more crops. I've been bad with the lettuce glut. I did the same thing I do every year, where you just have so much in the beds, and then it all kind of is ready at the same time, and my succession failed, and I'm just okay, we're pretty close now to having to buy some, and I've just given away 12 lettuces to the plot neighbours and stuff a week ago. I
know, but that's maybe it's
just how it goes.
Not about the, you know what I mean. It's just about getting out there and doing it, and
very true. Very true.
It's annoying that you can't just be just slow down, because when they all start bolting and you're like, no. So, mine are doing the same. All of my Cos lettuces are now pointed in the centre, and they're going to be incredibly bitter. But it's annoying. But all of my succession sowings on that failed as well. They just were slugged completely. Yeah. Everything gone. Not
Me
anything.
Too.
Mind you, Audrey, them are still to this day, them Cos lettuce seeds you sent over couple of years ago, they were just magnificent.
What were they?
Nice.
Audrey, what can you remember what they were?
That was romaine.
Was it?
Yeah.
Just you could be flippant and just pull away about 6 or 7, 8 leaves and still have this massive, lovely, crispy head, which would keep, you put in the fridge, you would just keep and keep and keep. But again,
nice.
Most of mine has bolted because of this heat. So I realize next spring I should just plant summer lettuce, because it will be summer before it actually is a spring. So
Are we sowing anything because autumn's just around the corner?
There's still loads of time for sowing, isn't there?
You think? Yeah. We're nearly in the middle of July, man. 19th of July, by the way. 19th of July. Cards just sent to my house. Don't worry about money. Cards.
I'm going to be sowing some fennel. That's my big. That's
that
my
it?
big contribution to this conversation. Then I have. Do you all have your garlic out?
What?
Harvesting.
Your garlic, has it all been harvested?
Mine has.
Mine hasn't, but that's mainly because there's not a lot to see, so it's just kind of been forgotten.
Okay.
I should take that out actually.
I've still got a little bit ready to harvest, but yeah, most of it I'm harvesting now.
Because I've got to attend to mine. We took it all out like maybe a week, 10 days ago, and so I have dried garlic all over my house. But I have 40 people coming on Saturday, so the garlic needs to be dealt with. So it's dry, but now it needs the stems all cut off.
Mine
mine
was like a 100% elephant garlic, and I bet 60% of it was like small bulbs that never split in the cloves. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Just like,
Really?
and I'll use it because it's like a milder garlic. You know what I mean? So like, I'll certainly kind of get it used, but loads of them were like just. It hadn't been cold enough to kind of set that reaction away for the split in the cloves. I don't know. Has that happened? Have any round garlic bulbs? Anyone?
Mine will split. Mine will split okay, and they spent a lot of the winter in the polytunnel actually. So
what about
pleased?
What about JB onion white rot? Are you not getting affected with that? Are you not?
Oh, do you know? Well, my onions just haven't grown.
No, I mean for the garlic. Sorry, for the...
Oh no, sorry for the garlic. So I did them in pots this year.
Right.
And yeah, they've looked pretty scraggly up on top, and I was expecting to pull them and just one tiny little clove that just hadn't split and hadn't really grown. It was all supermarket garlic as well. It was a real last ditch. Didn't really order seed
cheap,
garlic.
Aren't you?
Well, I've stopped ordering expensive seed garlic because if I grow it in the ground, it just rots, and there's no point. It's just like might as well burn my money. So I had some supermarket garlic lying around. It's starting to sprout in the cupboard, and I thought, well, stick it in some pots, used compost, see if it does anything. I pulled them the other day on a video, and it was bloody amazing. Loved it.
Right.
No white rot because it's in pots. Really easy because it was just spent I literally emptied the compost from my chilies. It was around that time with the chilies. Emptied it out kind of November, stuck some garlic in it. Completely free garlic, basically. Bulbs aren't massive, so they look like the ones you buy in the supermarket. But...
So the chili root ball, what do? Just break it up?
Yeah,
like
give it a good break up.
Any feed? Any little like
probably? Yeah, probably put something in there. I don't know.
I remember. Look at the door.
Might have been some chicken pellets. Might have been some pelleted manure. I would have given it something, but not much. Not much.
I know Ian's got got garlic on Grown Local. So if you want to order it now, go on quick, mind you, get it. Get it as soon as, because I want to get some. To be honest, I'm going to try what you did there, JB. Put in these like big planters, get some, because I would just love to grow it without that. Like, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? Like the onion white rot kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you've got all the compost that you've got your tomatoes in. Mm-hmm. Perfect for bung in some garlic in when the tomatoes are done.
It'll be. I mean, it's be a messy big job, won't it? You know what I mean? Like breaking it down.
Well, yeah. What I started doing actually is I've kept all of my I've kept my compost bags, and it is a bit of a horrible job because of the root balls. But I've just ended up putting those root balls, break it up a little bit into a big compost bag, and then store the bag somewhere until you need some spent compost. It's great for potatoes, for garlic, anything in the tubs, or for your chilies next year and your tomatoes next year. You can reuse it so long as you use lots of feed. And it's once you've used it a year or two, then you can just chuck it on your beds. Compost bags are just great for keeping it out of your soil and out of the white rot. It worked really well.
Yeah, we've started saving a lot of the old compost because we started growing things. We never used to grow anything in pots like potatoes or garlic or anything. We've got the white rot as well. But now we've started growing things in large pots. It's just it's too painful to throw away the compost or chuck the compost into the compost heap at the end of the year. So we've been bagging it up and reusing it, and it's been absolutely great. Just
It's
mix
weed
it.
free, isn't it?
Some of it we've been mixing 50-50 with new stuff,
Yes.
just to kind of, give it a bit of oomph. But yeah, it's been really successful.
Great for growing carrots as well, Tony.
Oh,
Because it'll
yeah.
be weed free.
Well, actually, well, I don't know what I've used for this carrots this time. I can't remember, to be honest with you. Did you hear about the company that's had to pull their peat-free? I don't want to name the company peat-free compost because it's kind of burning the plants off.
Ooh.
It's
I
not
didn't
silver
hear about
grow.
this.
It's not silver grow, to be honest. So
It's not.
I did.
Is it news? Why can't you say the company?
Well, I just don't want to. Do you know what I mean? I
Just being kind.
kind.
Is it a big one?
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Look over there, over the horizon.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense to me.
There was I think it's John in Discord who actually came up. Remember, he sent off a sample to Merlecourt, like Silver Grow to kind of, because he was having trouble with it. They've done a sample, and all fairness to them, they've come back and said, yes, that's deficient in nutrients. We don't know how it's happened, but there's been like a batch, or there's been like a certain amount's gone without, or highly less nutrients than that should have been. So they're looking into how it's went. So JB got a bag of the good, I think.
Yeah, I reckon my theory with some of the Melcourt kind of comments that we were getting, people buying Silver Grow and not having great results, was it had been stored outside in very, very wet weather, and probably quite a lot of the nutrients had run out. Because I think I googled it after we had that episode talking about it, and the Osmocote, the feed that they put in Silver Grow is water activated. So when it basically becomes soluble in water. So with all the heavy rain we had and garden centres storing it outside, I think it was probably a bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of leaching, which is really bad for the environment as well. All those nutrients just running down into neighbouring lands. But one of those things, Melcourt can't control how it's stored at garden centres. But interestingly, I had one of my plot neighbours, Elmo, who is just fantastic. He's quite new, but he's just got crops like yours, Tony. It's first year, basically, second year, and it's just incredible. But he was saying he's been trying out Silver Grow, and he had amazing results, even compared to some of the peat-based stuff. He was using J. Arthur Bauer's peat compost, and he said nothing grows as well as the stuff he's put in Silver Grow.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's really nice to hear.
Well, it's JB. I can tell mine weren't, and I'll tell you why. Even now,
had a bad batch.
Is because I put 2 bags on a certain bed, and even the weeds have struggled to get kind of. There's been not really many wind-blown seeds have germinated, so it's where other beds, you know what I mean, that hadn't had it. Like I thought I'll just cover it make it look nice, dampen off the weeds that were on there. Nothing's really come through, the odd one. So there's no goodness there. You know what I mean? I might even have to goddamn dig it to get the goodness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's probably just acted like a weed-free, like a mulch to keep the weeds off, hopefully.
Anything doing good then for anyone? Jesse, anything?
Were you going to say there's a question?
I was, yeah. Louise
yeah.
has asked about timing for garlic, their first year growing garlic. They were going to the Isle of Wight, so they want to pick some up from the garlic farm, which is very sensible. And
it's expensive, mind you, from there, I'll be honest.
Any seed garlic is quite expensive. I thought Grown Local prices were pretty reasonable, and his pre-orders are closing 4th of August, if you do want to get in on Grown Local. But yeah, they've sort of said, what do you plant after it? And is it too late to plant now? What do you plant after your garlic is in? Or like any ideas anyone's got for intercropping? It's definitely not too late to get your garlic in. I've done garlic really late. I think you're meant to kind of start at September, but any time between September and November is a pretty good window. As long as
look at Dan. Dan's allotment diary. He didn't put his in until March.
Oh, just spring garlic.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pulls out some cracking bulbs. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I guess if you live in somewhere where you're still getting quite good frosts after March, then it's fine. Because what you want with garlic is a bit of time for it to get its roots going, to start sprouting before heavy frosts, right? but then you want the heavy frost to give it that signal to there's a special name for it that I forget, but basically turn into a bulb rather than just one clove.
Well, obviously it hasn't been cold enough. I mean, I put mine in last year. Do you know what I mean? It must have been maybe November, but it just hasn't been cold enough up here.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? To kind of to split them, or cold enough, long enough, and yet, I mean, well, funny, I was kind of in hospital, wasn't I? But I came out, I was freezing. Do you know what I mean? I did that, that kind of recovery time. I just couldn't get warm, man. I was just like, burnt all my supply of bloody wood. Like, we should have lasted 2 years. Went through it nearly all in bloody August, September. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so cold, man.
It's probably because you lost the weight, right? You lost all your insulation.
Mm.
You just
let it by now with a big now.
Very good. Very good.
I'm sweating now. So what was I going to ask you? Oh, are we harvesting anything? Jess, are we harvesting anything? Or
well, lettuces, like crazy.
Hey.
Yeah, like what? Not really. Like, I'm doing a lot of herb drying at the moment.
Very nice.
Because they've all gone.
Herb drying?
Herb, yes. Herb.
Okay.
You can't possibly call it an herbaceous border, do you?
Yeah. What?
Herbaceous.
Herbaceous, no. Herbaceous border. Anyway. So drying a lot of that kind of stuff off. But yeah, other than peas and I'm just about to start sowing stuff like the mustard greens and chicory and some of the later brassicas like the menestra, and it's chimidirapa time end of this month. So all of that stuff sort of coming in now. It's,
we're so led by supermarkets, like the supermarkets are getting their fruit and veg in, you know what I mean? Like the fresh tomatoes, the English grown tomatoes, they're in there now and they've been in for where ours are just like the normal season times, you know what I mean? So it's probably another month before the big crops come in, where your tomatoes and your cucumbers and your sweet corn, do you know what I mean? Fresh sweet corn, mine's not even going to be ready for bloody couple of months.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Well, and it kind of shouldn't, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's more forced.
Oh yeah, everything's forced. You know what I mean? Just everything.
It's one of the things that I really enjoyed about starting to grow my own. Is just having that connection to seasonal food and realizing how it's wild that you can walk into a supermarket in pretty much any season and just find
everything
90% of their food. It's just wild. It's quite nice to just have a bit more connection to the seasons, I think.
Audrey, Jimmy, Jess, anyone, have you got a problem when you see, when you watch documentaries on, say, a tomato growing and they're in just huge artificially lit factories almost, and the tomatoes are 30 foot high, and they're on these because I've seen them where they just keep on growing. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing to stop them, keep on growing, and then they coil them down. Once the leaves come off, they'll coil them on the floor, and then they go up again, and they do another coil, and then you know what I mean? They just keep on. They're all on these electric curtains almost. You know what I mean? And then the root coils on the ground, and then they start again. Have you had any problem with just eating supermarket tomatoes, or do you?
Yes. I always feel like they don't taste good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have a fresh one off the vine, how can you get that mealy thing from the grocery store? Sometimes you can find some heirloom, they are because they look like heirlooms, and these were not made by a corporation. Those are fine, but I kind of wait for the real ones to come out.
So you wouldn't get a tomato in December then, Audrey, from the supermarket?
No. That's I don't eat. I mean, the only tomatoes we eat at that point would be ones that I've preserved.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we don't eat tomatoes during the year, but I've preserved them.
Mm.
But yeah, no fresh cut ones. That's why it's that first one that comes off the vine is like the precious. You gotta, it's the precious, right?
Yeah. I would love to say that I don't eat tomatoes the rest of the year, but I mean, I don't eat a lot of them. It's not like when you've got your own and it's just like every meal you've just got a side plate of tomatoes and it's wonderful. But you know, I really like a grilled tomato, and you put enough salt on it. Doesn't really, you know, from the supermarket. I don't really eat them like fresh in a salad like you would your own beautiful tomatoes, but you know, and I do use tin tomatoes.
Well, sometimes they do have nice little cherry tomatoes that are probably
you can get
grown.
some pretty good flavored cherries in the supermarket. Yeah.
So I have.
And there's a variety called Red Choice, which I don't know how they're growing it, but they're grown in the UK, but grown like basically all year. But they don't taste that bad. Like they're not utter disappointment when you eat them. So I sort of eat a few of them sometimes. But I would love to say that I don't eat tomatoes other than they're my own, but no, it's never going to be that way.
So the big question, Audrey, is then, are you going to have tomatoes in December this year then, and chilies?
I should. I'm crossing my fingers. They're growing. They're still growing upwards. So, and I lost a couple of my determinate ones. So I'm going to go steal some suckers or side shoots and do the old Steve routine and see how that goes.
Nice.
Because I hate when there's, I have like a pattern to my plants, and I hate when something fails. Then there's a spot that's open that makes me crazy. So I need to get those in really quick.
Surely, though, Audrey, that just is not going to bear fruit for you, though.
Oh, yes, it will. I will it.
Oh, that's me too. I beg your pardon, young man.
Exactly. If I have to fertilize the living snot out of it, I'm going to.
Just like ramrod straight. This one.
That's right. No, they'll all produce.
But when's your frost? When's your frost then? July. End of July.
No, November.
Still time.
Oh yeah. But also it's in such heat. This stuff is growing like
I think it's a whole different the kind of rate of growth that you'll be getting is something that we can't even comprehend.
I'll be pulling tomatoes soon. Yeah.
If we took a sucker off now, Jess, would you get a tomato off it if you planted a sucker?
I think you probably would. Yeah, maybe only like the first truss or two.
Right.
And you might want to terminate it a little bit early to get them properly ripening. But
I almost popped seeds in.
JB's thrown down the gauntlet.
I haven't got space to try it though.
JB, you cannot. Right, I'm going to get a sucker off. And what did Audrey say? Fertilize the living hell out of it.
That was sort of what I said, Tony. Yeah.
The Miracle Grow, the blue stuff.
Oh no! Say no to that.
Bit of that.
None of that. No.
I just don't think I'd get a tomato. I'd get probably a couple of green tomatoes, but certainly not a red tomato.
When do yours go, Tony? Up where you are?
Like, what do you mean, like a frost?
Yeah, like how long will you be still picking tomatoes?
Well, I normally kind of, it's my own fault. I normally like to clear out before they're kind of finished anyway.
You cull yours quite early. You do that with your chilies too.
Yeah.
Right. So, but if you had a year where you were set back and you were starting everything a bit late,
then
you wouldn't have to do that.
I'm going to go and look for a good sucker. I'm going to leave it in a little glass of water for a day or two, and then she's away. And that's.
Give it a
I've
go.
actually probably got a quad, but I'll do it in just a pot or something. I'll see. Anyways,
I don't think Tony answered the question though. He kind of
did I not
dodged that one.
Politician. What was? I can't even remember what the question was.
I was just saying when would your tomatoes produce up until?
I'm not sure. Just, you know what I mean? I guess November, if at a push outside, it'll be gone. You know what I mean? They'll be gone before that. I've never had them that long, Jess. I always, we don't kind of preserve. So we eat, and then by the time we've finished eating, we're a little bit kind of with tomatoes. So I want to move on to kind of growing like salads and that. So I'm not.
So when do you take them out?
I don't know, just whenever.
Do you think it would be like mid-October, would you
probably,
say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably sometime in October, I'd say. So
yeah.
I'll be, because I've got these quad grows, I'm in no position to worry about them and like need to tidy up. That's always the big thing. Just, I've got to get it cleared out. I can leave them. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm going to do what JB said, smash up them balls of, try and reclaim some compost. So I can leave them way longer probably this time.
Yeah.
And maybe the only thing that might hamper them is, because they'll be lasting longer than chilies, is if there's a sudden frost and it freezes the roots, like in the water reservoirs, if that gets clattered a little bit, I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah. I think if anything, the quad growers actually give them a bit of thermal mass. So it's probably a bit more protection from the frost, actually, if anything. But,
I would tell you what I would like to do, Jess, is like bend them over and keep on going with them. Do you know what I mean? Just like see how long, and how much.
When I was just planting out my tomatoes this week, actually, I've been doing that. I know that there's at least 3 plants in there that just keep going. Like you'd still be picking trusses off them in late November. And so they're planted strategically, like at the 3 points, so they can grow up and over. Because the last couple of years, they've been in the wrong spot, and it's always the same tomatoes that end up doing it. It's always cherries. And it's like the sun gold and the garnet are just rampant, and they'll just keep going.
Sun gold. I was going to mention that, Jess. Sun gold just seemed to because there's doesn't take that long to ripen the little things.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
they're so quick as well. Like sometimes you end up with like the big ones, and you're just thinking that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But the cherries, they just keep going. So I'm going to get them right up and over the top this time.
I have to be really careful watching mine because they start to grow out the roof of the greenhouse and out the auto vent, because in summer the auto vent's open most of the time, and then when it starts to get colder, they're going to get like guillotined by the closing window, I always have to try and stop them.
We have done over an hour.
I'm seeing in the chat that this is now called the Sucker Challenge.
I like that from
Chris. Right. The Sucker
Chris
Challenge.
has accepted it.
Accepted. Chris.
So, yeah.
Lad, I'm saying lad. Chris might be a young lass. Is that it, do you think? 1 hour? Anything else to...
Oh, an hour. Is that it?
I had something. I was like, right, I must save this for the potty mouth, but I've forgotten what it was now. So it's not. I can't think what it was. That'll be next week then. Stay tuned.
On the subject of harvest, just quickly, I did have my first potato pot harvest, which was amazing to look at and horrible to cook. It did exactly the thing that we've been talking about, and I think it was underwatering big time in the pot. I saw them wilting a few times, and it was the pot that I harvested was on its way out because I think throughout the season I'd underdone it. I'm yet to try. Well, actually, I was going to try just microwaving them. Apparently, that's which sounds gross. But when you've got one that's like that, where because it's too dry, as soon as you put it in water, it just absorbs all the water and explodes, which is exactly what happened to mine. Apparently, microwaving them is a really good way to stop that.
What kind were the Jerry? What kind of potato?
They were Red Duke of York, so they were earlies. But yeah, I think bad underwatering on the pots. First time that I'd properly had pots outside. I'm doing more pots, and I should have been more on it. But there were just 1 or 2 times where I went up, and the plants feel really wilted, and I don't think that's a good sign with potatoes.
No. When they do that, and they go really, they're like the skin bursts open when you're boiling them, and they go really like fluffy and watery. If you strain them, put them back in the pot while the pan is still hot, and put like a couple of sheets of kitchen roll in the top and close the lid, it makes a big difference. They don't ever go back to being a solid potato, obviously, but they become fluffy rather than waterlogged.
Interesting. Yeah, because it's a horrible, horrible texture. It's like they're wet, but also kind of hard, like gritty. You know, it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
weird combination of you'd
Could
expect if
it's not great.
Could you as well do? Because sometimes I'll like say cook new potatoes, boil them up, but then leave them purposely to cool down, like to get cold, and like to saute them
we
the
did
next
that
day.
actually.
Could you
That
do
was
that?
some of
That
the,
help?
no, we had them as a salad, and yeah, they were pretty gross. And I'll tell you what,
Oh.
I put the rest back in a bag, and they all went mouldy. That's never happened to me before. I must have just not. I think I probably should have dried them off more, because
Yeah.
the bag was like completely closed up. But I put them under the stairs, which is where we normally do it, 'cause it's nice and cool under there. Yeah, I went to get them out yesterday for dinner, but it all gone mouldy. I was like, oh my god! Luckily, there's more potatoes than I could ever eat on the allotment, so it's not too big an issue. But it was a bit of a weird one.
Well, I
Just
have
gotta remember
results
to-
from those. Remember those 8 that I planted way back?
All right.
Way
Oh,
too
yeah.
early? Okay. So by the time we were getting those in the ground, 7 of them were dead, and 1 is now in the ground. But here's the thing: I got a harvest from all those little silly pots.
Right.
Hey.
I got like 2 pounds of potatoes.
Wow.
I mean, they're little teeny weeny, but I'm thinking,
There's a-
It's a
and
weird.
Still
it was
counts.
literally
Still counts.
a cup you could get a pop in. That's how big it was. I mean, I can't believe anything grew in there.
That's brilliant.
So
What kind was it, Audrey? What
they
variety?
were nasty ones that were in my potato bin, which I think were probably last year's. I think they were from last year. Maybe purple Viking. Maybe.
Don't know
I
that
say
one.
maybe with a big question mark because
It's nice that you got them across the finishing line. So and
yeah,
there's one
and
still.
one is we'll see what the one does that
Aye.
got put
Yeah.
out in the ground. So anyway,
Well, I think
I
that's...
really love JB's comedy typing noises. They're so
I
loud.
know. I'm trying to type really quietly as well. I'm delicately just tickling the keys ever so
I've
slightly,
got
and it's
a
like
picture of you with one of those really old school keyboards with the real like.
Yeah. I think it's just because the mic is quite close to the actual keys. Typing in the chat about potatoes.
anything else we need to discuss until next week, or Audrey, are you?
am I what?
Have you got anything else, or is that
Oh
your?
no, we're just harvesting like the occasional onion that's ready. The overwintered onions, the Walla Wallas, which Tony particularly
Amazing.
likes to say, are beautiful. I will do those every year now.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful, and they're big and very nice. And my peas are done. We had a best pea harvest probably ever. Really good year for peas.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
me too.
Yeah, and beans are starting to take off, so
Yeah.
we'll have something coming out of the garden.
No limp beans, mind you.
Oh, I've
God.
just remembered what it was I wanted
Here
to
it
tell
is.
you.
Speaking of limp beans,
No, it's a real shame. You know, I think it was last week, I was talking about my apricot tree that one half of it had died back, and I was going to have to prune it, and it was going to be like, heck, well, the whole thing's gone.
Oh no.
The whole tree has died.
Right.
Yeah, so I picked off all of the small apricots. They were only about this big. They were just starting to go orange, but they weren't going to do anything. The whole lot is dead. So I'm going to have to take it out, which is really sad because that is my absolute pride and joy, that tree, and it's gone.
Any idea what did it?
oh,
There's so many things that attack. So there's apricot dieback is one of the things, which is what I thought it was. It could also have been a canker. And all of those, like the stone fruit, like the nectarines and the peaches and apricots and stuff, they've got so many things that once it's in there, they're done. And yeah, unfortunately, and it means I won't be able to replace it with. Firstly, I don't know what variety that was because it was a rescue job, and it just fruited magnificently, just out in the open, wasn't under protection. Nothing, but unfortunately, my days of joyous apricots are gone.
How old was it, Jess?
Well, we've had it for, it must be 10 years. I would say 8 years, maybe 10 years, but it was on another allotment that was going to be cleared, and it had a whole load of apple trees on this allotment that had got oversized, and they were going to just take down all of the fruit trees and have it back to clear earth. So we rescued it. We went and dug it out, and it had been on that allotment. It must have been for 10 years. So we dug this huge root ball out and like lugged it over and planted it, and really didn't know if it was going to survive or not. And it just took off, and it's just been such a joy. But it's over.
Bloody hell.
And the mulberry tree has had a sex change. So we've lost the mulberry and the apricot in 1 year.
Well, everyone in the chat, Jess is so sad. Apricot, rest in peace. So frustrated.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, I was really sad when I started seeing that other half of it like start wilting. I was just like, oh, it's gone.
Oh.
See, we get frustrated with like a cabbage or a tomato, but when it's something that you've had for years and years and year after year, it's fruited. Yeah. By the sound of it, fantastic.
You talk about getting a tomato from a supermarket not tasting the same. I have never tasted an apricot like what came off that tree. It's literally like your entire face is taken over with joy. They're just the most delicious things on the planet. Yeah, really sad.
Did you name it? Had it a name?
No, it was just called. Yeah, it was just the apricot tree, but it was the only one on the site. And when it was covered in apricots, and they were so orange, like it's just so sad. It's just really, really sad.
And what you're saying, you can't or you won't get an. Is it like a dog? I can't go through that again. I'm not getting another dog.
Well, no. The problem is I've looked up, and the thing is that I don't know what's killed it. There's about 4 things in the running that it could have been, and all 4 of those things like stick around. So if I got another peach, nectarine, apricot, it's just going to get the same thing. So, yeah.
On that happy note.
Sorry about that.
Shame.
That's gut-wrenching, to be honest. Like you say, when you've had it 10 years, and it's more the thing as well, just like you say, you've lumped it back. It's been a whole process to dig it out. Yeah. Massive root ball, get it up to yours, get it in. It's been a success.
Yeah.
For it to kind of wither and go.
Well, trees are like part of the whole structure.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even the fact that you loved it so much because of the fruit it produced.
Such a beautiful tree. Not just the fruit, which is incredible, but like the flowers. Apricot blossom is like, it probably comes in second after quince blossom. Like, they're just so beautiful. And then,
Jess, you've got to get another one. Just stick another one in just for the sake of it. Do you know what I mean? Just like, and then just forget about it. Did you like manage it, Jess? Was it something that you had to kind of labour of love, or was it just tough love and just forget it?
I mean, a couple of years I had to do, the pollinating with the paintbrush, because the problem with growing those is that they flower so early that we're still in frost territory when they're flowering, which is why they normally have to be grown under protection. But even if they catch that gap when they don't, because once they've been pollinated, they can take a frost. It's just when their flowers are actually out that it can't. So if they get it right, they can survive it then going cold again. But often, like, the bees aren't around, or there's nothing out to pollinate that early. So I've spent a lot of time with my little paintbrush going around tons and tons of branches. But
memories.
It's going to be a really sad day pulling it out, I can tell you. Like,
Chris is saying, I've only got a tiny kiwi after Jessie got one, so don't butcher that one, Jess. Right then. I think that's it. Bloody hell. An hour and a quarter, man. We'll just keep on chatting here. JB, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at NaturallyJB on YouTube and Instagram.
Someone was asking in the comments when we were going to hear your radio voice.
I know, we need a new sponsor. If anyone wants to sponsor the show, get in touch. Currently sponsored by Tony's patrons.
Yes, that's fine. Audrey, where can we find you?
Real Food Comes Dirty. YouTube, Instagram.com.
Jess.
Sorry. Jessie, that was good timing.
The apricot.
Yeah.
Jesse at Plot 37, so plot37.com, and on Patreon and Instagram and YouTube.
There you go. There you go. And again, if you want to kind of come into the live chat, pop over to the Potty Mouth Patreon. That would be fantastic. Jesse, one day soon, will demonstrate this useless bit of kit. But until then, from me, it's herbs. It always has been herbs. Look after yourselves. Take good care. Bye.
Bye.